Okay. Okay. We on, we live, we good. Okay. Welcome everyone. Uh, my name is Alice. And I am back with playing Swooning over Stan because who doesn't want to date Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Ford? The more recent one is whipping up some romance. Let's continue. Oh god. 1 second. There? Oh, 1 second. Let me just listen to my audio. I don't even know if you guys can hear the audio. Okay, whatever. Mabel holds two aprons out, one scarlet red and the other white. You have absolutely no idea when Mabel retrieved these aprons in the first place, but she already picked who gets which. The red apron is tossed to you and the white one is thrown to Ford. You put it on and look down at yourself and read upside down, burn baby burn, printed across your chest with a picture of a flaming grill beneath it. Fittingly, it seems likely. Wait, it smells like burning. Ford's apron has some green text you couldn't quite catch as he loops it over his head and ties it. You read it clearly. You sniffle a laugh as you read the text out clear over his broad chest. My other oven is, bust. A fourth are made of copper. It only takes seconds for Ford to fluster pink with understanding, filling with the hem of his apron. Ha, okay, Mabel, what's the next step? The second rule in baking is to know your recipe. It's got everything, the ingredients, the instructions, the temperature. Ford looks to the counter and picks up a piece of paper. You guess it's the recipe, judging by the frilly-looking photo of a three-tier cake on the back. He scans over the ingredients. Focus. Forced. And the third rule of baking is to forget your recipe. But that's only if rule 2 doesn't work out. How we look in Grunkle Ford. I was worried we'd be short on sugar, but I think we'll make it. Are you switching recipes, Mabel? These ingredients listed here aren't. There's ingredients listed here that aren't already on the counter. Mabel laughs loudly, attempting to clap Ford on the shoulder. She only manages to reach his elbow. You suddenly suspect that whatever baked goods Mabel had burned in the oven earlier was a fabricated failure. You glance at the stovetop and open a box of store-bought cookies sitting on top confirming your suspicion. Oh, Grunkle Ford, you tell the best joke. That wasn't a joke. Oh, look, we need flour. I already have that out. Next, Ford reads the list of ingredients out loud. Marble. Mabel darts around the kitchen, gathering them as he calls them out. You set to work finding the utensils Mabel needs, searching through unfamiliar drawers she points out to you. After opening nearly every cupboard, you come up with the array of mismatched you come up with an array of mixed match measuring cups, 2½ teaspoons, and a dented tablespoon. Good enough. How many cupcakes do you need for tomorrow, Mabel? At least 100. You give her an you give her an undisregarded look of I'm sorry about life. I cannot spec. Look of whatever that says. And Mabel sets back a series of gestures telling you to go along with it, pointing at Ford's thoughtful face and nothing. He bought it! So since the recipe makes 20 to 25, we make quadruple or quadruple? Triple. Exactly what I was thinking. If we play our cards right, we could get an exact 120 fully made full use of a cupcake pan each time. You're bewildered that Ford didn't question the quantity, instead started to factor in how many acceptable cupcake pans he can find in the cupboards, grumbling as he searched through the clangs and dull thuds of other bakeware. Ooh, when was the last time Stanley, looked in here? Looks like we have one that's rusty, one that hasn't. Alice Miller, get the pans. Alice Miller, get the pans that's already in the oven, if we can manage to clear it. Oh no, definitely uncleanable. It's totally burnt. Batter everywhere. Alice Miller, can you? Aller gestures to the disappointed events of her baking failure, and you wince but nod. Seizing your chance while Ford's back is turned, you open up the oven, grab whatever inside with the oven mitts, rush outside, and drop in the trash can midway around the mystery shack. It turned out to be a couple store-bought cookies dropped in a muffin pan and left to burn to a crisp. You shake the cookies out of the tray, leaving you with a still hot the perfectly servable pan. Take the pan back in and call it a miracle. You return to the kitchen. But the pan is actually fine. How lucky. Ford gives Mabel amused look. Yes, how fortunate. Mabel gives Ford a winning smile, which must be enough because Ford lightened up with a smile soon after, shaking his head fondly. You see, Ford has brought a mixing bowl out while you two were gone, and wiped away most of the excess flour from the counter. He settles back into the role of recipe reader now that you're back. I've already turned the oven to the correct temperature. Mabel notably doesn't look sheepish in the slightest, still grinning in front of the mixing bowl. Our next step is to add butter. I'll measure it out. And so you steady into a rhythm. Mabel measures ingredients and tosses them in. Ford reads out the recipe, pausing occasionally to balance out Mabel's haphazard method of throwing ingredients into the bowl, and you mix everything into a suitable batter. 2 ingredients later, you notice that Ford rolled up his sleeves to his elbows as he worked. You could get used to the sight of him like this. You didn't notice Ford returned your stare until he cleared his throat. Apparently, your analoging lasted just a moment too long. Alice? Yeah? I just added the first cup of flour. You can stir it now. Alright, Ford added another cup as you stirred in the ingredients together, trying to ignore how red your face felt. Aw, look at you two working so well together. It's like you don't even need me to be perfect. You know what she's talking about, the matchmaking, but Ford doesn't take it that way. That's not entirely accurate. You're an established member of our baking trio. Ford, you may be one of the smartest people in the world, but when it comes to matchmaking, you cannot get a hint. After all, who else is creative enough to come up with an unified theme for all these cupcakes? You're right, I haven't even thought about that yet. Mabel, standing on the chair next to Ford, reaches on the counter, hops up and sits at the edge of the counter. I am sorry for me not speaking well. Sure, English is my first language, but still. Lovey-dovey or lovey-dovey? God, I can't decide. While Mabel is working out her creative genius, Ford scoops out the last cup of flour, going to wipe the excess back into the bag with his finger. Wait, I have the perfect idea! She lifts her arm in triumph and properly sends Ford's heaping cup of flour flying. Ford fumbles to catch it, but immediately fails, and the cup, along with the bag, flies into the mixing bowl, sending a mushroom cloud of flour into your face. Flour cakes Ford's glasses, along with his nose, cheeks, forehead, and the front of his hair, to the point where the color is indistinguished from his usual streak of gray. Mabel, thankfully sitting on the side of her perch of the counter, only got half covered in the exposed flour, even though she's already got various spots of flour all over her sweater. Oops. It's okay, Mabel. Here, take this and dust off the flour. Mabel attempts to brush the flour off her sweater as Ford takes off his glasses, blowing puffs of white from the lenses, wiping them clean from the hem of his turtleneck. He manages to clear most of the flour off his skin, but he misses a spot. Ford? I'm fine. I've had many messier adventures in my time than a bit of flour. No, that's not it. There's a lot of flour still on your hair. Brush his hair out yourself. What are we going to do about the batter? This batter. You reach over to brush it out. Ford gives you an uncertain expression, but stands still letting you make contact. Your finger only runs through his hair for a second, but it was enough for you to gesture how fluffy and flory it is. You can't help but smile and tugs at your lips as you finish. You just had some flour up there. Did I? Mabel stopped dusting herself up and now looks between you and Ford with such exception that you're getting I'm sorry again about my not speaking well. Under her attention. Ford seems to notice too, because he takes an unnecessary step backwards and awkwardly clears his throat. Right, flour, mistake. Let's fix it. The three of you take a moment to stare at the disaster zone on the counter. Looks like the only thing we can do now is guess how much flour was added and scale the amount of the rest of the ingredients to match it. I was going to start over, but that's a brilliant idea, Alice. Let's do it. Mabel, do you have another bowl for this operation? Good thing I found this mega big bowl for mixing. Mabel presents a vessel more akin to a tub than a mixing bowl. It's clear, though, through, and Ford transfers the batter over. Good call, Mabel. Are you secretly a psychic? Nope. It's just a little thing I call the power of Mabel. She does an energetic jazz hand, shaking more flour off in the process. The three of you laugh before beginning the post-flower mission due to the mishap. You now need 4 times the other ingredients to match the flour that got dumped into the bowl. How inconvenient, but not impossible. As you measure out more sugar, you spot Ford adding to the bowl by cracking 2 eggs at a time in each hand. As you measure out the sugar, you spot... Show off. The kitchen is quiet during the bustle of measuring, adding, and remixing. After a couple of minutes, Mabel sighs. What's up, Mabel? I don't know, Alice. It feels silly to talk about it. Nothing is too silly. Well, that's a broad statement, but the point is we're willing to listen. Well, Grenda and Marius are throwing this party on Marius's yacht, right? You have no idea who either of these people are, but you play along for Mabel's sake. Yeah. And they're getting into the romance zone. Grenda even told me they kissed. Ford only gives this mild acknowledgement, so you have to amp up the reaction zone. They did not. They did so. Can you believe it? I seriously cannot believe that. Ford looks lost as he continues to mix the batter around. I'm really happy for Grenda. I am, but sometimes I feel a little jealous. Grenda's like one of my best friends. I don't get why I can't just be happy for her without feeling this way. Everyone feels like that sometimes. You just have to let the feeling simmer inside you. All you can do is try to stay positive for her, even if you're feeling a little bitter inside. And just know that eventually these feelings will pass. Really, everyone gets this way. Even with friends, it doesn't mean you're a bad friend or anything. Thanks, Alice. And anyways, if this is about the romance, Mabel, you're only a teenager. You might feel like you're watching your friends get married and settle down so quickly, but that doesn't start happening until you're 25. You're a wonderful girl. You're a wonderful girl, you're smart, pretty, and you can probably make a mean batch of cupcakes. Now that whoever you I know that whoever you end up with will be lucky to have you, and that perfect relationship will come your way in time. Mabel seems to brighten, and she smiles at you gratefully. Then she looks thoughtful. Getting married. I wonder when someone I know will get married. She's non-specific, but Ford pointingly coughs into his fist. Wait, we need to make these cupcakes extra special before we bake them. I thought we already were. Weren't we going to split this into 3 parts, add 4 food coloring, and marble them in? No. That's just special. I'm thinking extra special. I'm thinking exploding rocks! I mean, you mean the tiny candies that make your mouth all tingly? Exactly. I'm gonna grab my supply. Mabel dashes to get the candy, leaving you and Ford alone in the kitchen. Oh gosh! That is a very cool picture of Ford. Holy mackerel. Normally you'd expect the atmosphere to turn awkward, but you find yourself and anticipating something. Instead, you get Ford a smile. Great job calculating how much we need to salvage the cupcakes. Ford laughs, leaning back against the counter. Oh, I just eyeballed it, adjusting it based on the batter apparent velocity. No calculations involved. And, well, I couldn't let our hard work go to waste after you suggested salvaging it. I don't get it. You wanted to start over? Well, I had a whole plan in my mind. We were going to quadruple the recipe, and I know it's more like on-tuple? But I think this is a better route to take now that I'm thinking about it. That was the last of our flour. Well, wait, damn, Stanley needs flour for pancakes this week. Would you take cupcakes for breakfast instead? We're gonna have plenty extra. Knowing him, I think the probability is very high. You're about to start something else, leaning into continuing the conversation when Mabel entered the room carrying a cardboard box stuffed to the brim with bright packets of exploding rock. I'm back! Alright, let's add these puppies in and make some cupcake magic. You and Ford start helping Mabel decorate the explosive rocks into the batter. Ford glares at you as you shake the last packet into the bowl. Both of you know that the consumers of these cupcakes will get an unpleasant surprise from the exploding in their mouth, especially since the multicolored candy makes the batter look like unamusing, fun, pretty cupcakes. And it's time to split the batter and marble them into pans. The three colors Mabel chose are deep purple, blue, and pink, which she says ties in perfect with her theme. So, are you going to tell us what the theme is yet? Nope, let's get this in the oven. Ford picks up both pans, sticking them in the oven to bake them. There's still plenty of batter in the mixing bowl. You partially slim the surface with the first batch. You and Ford share another look. Alright, it's time for the best part. Frosting! What kind do we have? It's not what kind do we have, it's what kind we're making! Mabel presented another recipe card. Ah, jeez. Thankfully, the frosting is far easier to make than the batter, but by the time you and Mabel spread the sugary result into a few different bowls of color, the first batch of cupcakes came out of the ovens 10 minutes ago and have cooled down on the counter. As Mabel puts it, they're ready to be Mabelified. Ford grins at her as he starts dyeing a bowl of icing bright pink. Decorating the cupcakes is by far the most fun part of the afternoon. The three of you sit around the kitchen table. Mabel purposely sits you and Ford next to each other while she takes the remaining spot. As you use different frosting tips to make designs of all the cupcakes. Mabel has revealed her theme of outer space because this is full of romance, and this is the way, and this way I can say their compatibility is out of this world. So the three of you cover marble cupcakes in galaxy-worthy combinations of colored frosting. Or to put it simply, is delighted by the theme. You're pretty sure the constellations he painstakingly iced on the last 25 cupcakes would pass as in illustrations in the Stargazer's Guide. In the middle of completing a second Orion, Ford gets some icing on his face. A drip of blue somehow made it onto his chin, probably from testing the icing to make sure it tastes good. It did, of course. Mabel kicks you from under the table. Ow! Shh. And she nods her head at her uncle, giving you a meaningful look. Ford completely missed. He wipes off most of it, but there was a streak of blue on his cheek, so you smear it with your finger, wipe it off for him. Mabel watch as you both inexplicably, but you are sure that you aren't sure that you have the guts to do but what she really wants to happen. And besides, you're not sure Ford's ready for that. You're OTP for plan B instead. Here, I'll get it. You reach over with a napkin and gently wipe the streak away, hoping he didn't notice how your hand shakes with nervousness at the close proximity. Ford is also hyper awkward of how close you two are now, and you can't ignore how his glaze drops from your eyes to your lips as you winch to wipe the icing off. There, I got it. Ford's cheeks almost match his sweater. Thank you, Alice. Eventually, the three of you decorate over 100 cupcakes, looking at them all lined up on the counter. You can see the you can really see the decline of quality as you four and Mabel got worn out. Last few had frosting in solid color with just a handful of star-shaped sprinkles on top. I can't believe we're finally done. Yes, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I've had enough of the night sky to last me the rest of the week. Oh, but we're not done. Mabel sounded as peppy as she did all day, even though she must be as tired as you and Ford. There's just one last thing to do. Clean up, because we have a huge mess here. No, Grunkle Ford, more important than that, more urgent, more desperately needed. Ford looks perplexed. What could that be? The glitter. Mabel pulls out a sizable tube of blue edible glitter that has been sitting on the back corner of the counter for, you guessed, the whole afternoon you've been in here. Unscrewing the lid, revealing sprinkle shiny contents. Each of you grab a handful of glitter, sprinkling liberally over each cupcake. The only person who seemed to be hesitant is Ford, who keeps stopping to attempt glitter guarantees in order to keep his early icing work clear of glitter. Mabel always comes in after him, filling in the blanks so that the whole thing is sparkly. Soon enough, the tomb is left nearly empty. Great. All of these are for the party. Except for the ones for Dipper and the ones for Grunkle Ford and this one's for Waddles. Mabel puts exceptions aside, and at the end you three grab a cupcake each and reward for this afternoon's hard work. You tap them together in a pesto toast and absolutely deserve them. The cupcakes taste odd, and that would make sense. It's probably the explosive rocks. You can't detect. And a faint spice of love and adoration. A good, if not perfect, cupcake. The remaining cupcakes were strangely fitting into a pantry among the cheese, boodles, and various other snack foods ready to be brought for the party tomorrow afternoon. Mabel stretches and yawns dramatically before grabbing the plate of cupcakes that had been set aside. Well, I better get these to the boys. You know how Grunkle Stan gets when he smells something cooking and doesn't get a taste. I'm quite sure you do, but Ford nodded knowingly, so it must be true. Anyways, I'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Thanks for the help, and you're welcome for my help. Mabel sends a wink and a finger gun as she leaves. Your heart freezes in your chest as Ford looks at Mabel's exit with an unreadable look, then faces you. You see, I know what's going on. This isn't the first time Mabel's tried to find my match. Can't find the words to express your mixture of relief and confusion. Ford explains. I suppose she's at the age where kids are thinking about romance and dating. Stanley and Ari are just two of her recent subjects for this compatibility experiment. Last time Mabel reached out to Mermando and set me up with a merman, she didn't even tell me what kind of situation it was, so I unknowingly grilled him with enough scientific quarrels about mer people to send him back underwater with a grumpy burble. Ford gives a smile, genuine smile. But I can say that I can't say it's all been bad. After all, I've managed to repeat that I haven't been able to repeat that kind of mistake yet here. If you did, you'd be surprised by how much I know about mer people. So, how do you think this match is going? Ford shrugs, though he sports a light blush. I think this one has potential. You both look around at the disaster scene of the kitchen. Since Mabel conveniently has other things to do, she left you and Ford with the task of cleaning everything. Ford rolls up his sleeves and adjusts his glasses. Come on, let's get this kitchen cleaned up. It's like you made for each other. The love meter is going up. You didn't think you've been more nervous in your life. Mabel came with you yesterday when you went shopping for extra clothes. Since Stan's mechanic skills left your car still being worked on, and you realize you need more clothes than you packed. However, she managed to sneak in a relatively fancy set of clothes to add to your pile of summer apported clothes, and she flourishes them in your direction with a wide, braced face grin. Ta-da! For tonight. You stare at the fancy outfit like this is gonna jump out of Mabel's hands and attack you. Mabel, are you sure Ford agreed to this? Of course he did. I asked him and everything. He dropped whatever he was working on instantly. And it hit the other stuff on his desk, which fell on the floor. And he said, I'd love to, but I'll need a fashion makeover. Please help me, Mabel. You're my favorite grandniece. So he actually said something else, but he said yes at the end of it. Come on, I have to put the finishing touches on this perfect date. Get dressed, then come to the living room. She shoves the clothes at you and leaves you in the room getting yourself ready. Oh no. You put on the outfit Mabel picked out for you and head to the living room where Dipper prominently guards the way to the kitchen with his noodle arms. Mabel wants me to keep you in here until Great Uncle Ford is ready. Okay then, I'll stay here. You take a seat in Stan's recliner, trying to look relaxed and composed, but your shaking hands gave you away to Dipper, who's reading at the front of the door. You look nice. I know Mabel picked it. I kind of helped, but it's nice. He tried to distract you, sweet kid. You smiled at him, he smiled back, before returning to his book, The Field Guide to Bigfoot. Alice, you can come in now. You jolted to your feet, heart in your throat. Here goes nothing. Dipper stands up and awkwardly pats your head. Just be yourself, Alice. Great Uncle Ford likes you. I can tell. Trust me. He gently shoves you towards the kitchen door. It looms in front of you meaningly. Now get in there, Tiger. Was that weird to say? Good luck out there dating my great uncle. Gross. Anyway. With surprising strength, Dipper pushes you through the door as Mabel opens it, and you stumble into the kitchen, look up, and... oh god. Oh god, Ford's dressed up too. He's in a three-piece suit with a maroon necktie. How did Mabel know your only weakness? Well, that and... wait. He has flowers. You make eye contact after examining one another, and you feel your face flush red as his. Mabel beams, clapping her hands together. Yeah, now the moment we've all been waiting for. Mabel's certified dinner date of dreams. I knew Uncle Ford would be hopeless on a romantic dinner on his own, so I'm here to make this one perfect. You only notice now that she was wearing a bright pink apron and something smelled very burnt. Mabel. Dipper pushed you further into the kitchen. Mabel shoved forward, and the two of you stumbled almost into clawing with one another. Ford straightened up and cleared his throat. His face is as red as his tie. Well, these are for you, Alice. You take a closer look at the bouquet and discover that the three of the bouquet are real flowers. The other are pipe cleaner flowers with glitter pastels, and the other three are a flower type. Judging by both Ford and Dipper's paper cut and Mabel's sparkly, sticky fingers, they collaborated to make you the bouquet themselves. This is the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. How many paper cuts did you guys get from these? Ford laughs, rubbing the back of his neck with his free hand as you take the flowers from him. Quite a lot, unfortunately. Mabel found a tutorial on the line. Online, Grunkle Ford! Online! Isn't that what I said? And Dipper and I worked on them yesterday. They're beautiful, Ford. Thank you. Ford blushed, grinning blissfully at you. And Dipper, of course. Dipper smiled too, with an awkward laugh. Dipper takes the flowers off you and manages to stuff the bouquet in an empty 2-liter bottle of pit. Stuck in the middle of the table so you can't see Ford anymore once you sit down. You carefully skew the vase to the side until Ford's pink cheeks and nervous expression are visible again. Even if you currently look more pink with embarrassment, well, I'll leave you guys to it then. Chef Mabel, are you ready? Sure am, bro. So ready. Mabel is standing on a stool and ready 2 plates of food, the contents of which you have yet to see, due to the mass of her hair and Dipper's hat. Ford waves at you, and you turn to him, leaning forward so he can whisper to you. Do you have any idea what's going on over there? They're obviously planning to poison us with their spaghetti. As long as they're obviously planning to poison us with their spaghetti. Somehow I doubt that my grandniece and nephew would plan something that sinister. Mabel whirls off and hops off the stool, brandishing 2 glasses of something describingly bubblegum pink. She placed them down on the table with 2 flourishes. Ta-da! 2 glasses of maple juice! Such a delicacy! What ingredients did you use? You glanced at Ford, giving him a face of, play along, please don't leave me alone in this. Oh yes, Mabel, it looks truly exquisite. Pray tell, what's your method? Are the plastic dinosaurs and Monopoly pieces just decoration? Or fine... Mabel was too busy giggling at you both to answer. She thankfully didn't notice that neither of you touched your drinks. Ford's too busy smiling from you across the table as you ask Mabel about her secret ingredients for maple juice. And whether she used a blender for food processing to mix it all together, calling it a true work of art. Anyways, on to the main course. Voila! Mabel turns back to the stove, grabbing two plates of food covered with cloth. She placed one in front of Ford and one in front of you, before stretching across the table, pulling both cloths off of the plate at once. With weighted on each plate, what is horrifying to say the least, there's a pile of 3 burnt chicken nuggets, dinosaur chicken nuggets, as if you didn't expect something else. Some half-wet, half-dry noodles with a slice of cheese jabbed along the top, and a handful of jelly beans, and the special ingredient, of course. The Mabel special. I'm not a fancy cook. I'm just a cute little girl, but I slaved away at this romantic dinner for you two. Dang it, Mabel. Looks to you panicked. Take a long, hard sip of your drink. Mabel looks disappointed. Are you not hungry? No, I'm starving. No, I am starving. I'm just carefully considering what to eat first. Defying the careful consideration, picking out what to throw out the open window when Mabel's back is turned. Yeah, we're just thinking, though. I'm going for the most edible, the jelly beans first. Yep, good idea. Good idea, yep, jelly beans first. Even before we dig into the jelly beans, going as far as trying to spear them on your forks to play the part of high charisma dinner. Ford seems to relax a little as the dinner continues, but once the last jelly bean has been eaten, you two go silent again. Ford glances between the two of you. Remains of his food's falling hard. Mabel rushes in to save the day. Oh, of course, I forgot the sauce and stuff. Silly Mabel. Mabel goes to the fridge, grabs a bottle of ketchup and mustard, and places them on the table next to. Is that the blue glitter we used on the cupcakes? Yep, you're lucky there's still some left. Why is it here? Garnish, silly. Mustard. I'm sorry, I like mustard more than ketchup. Ford looks grossed out by the mustard, but says nothing as you practically empty the bottle over the nuggets. Now your entire plate is yellow. It looks so sunshiny and happy now. And disturbing. What? Nothing. Mabel looks at you both enthusiastically, like you're going to chew down into your dinner now that you've been properly sauced up. Eat up. You're gonna get a lot of food left. You've got a lot of food left, silly. Attempt. Take yet another long, hard sip of your drink. As good as the maple juice is, I'm not sure it adds the ideal Mabel dish taste. Mabel looks upset that you haven't eaten anything for a moment, but she jumps on Ford's bandwagon. Yeah, the food tastes better if you have a drink with the food, not before it. You look at your tall glass of maple juice, and sure enough, all that's left is the once colorful drink. Are the plastic dinosaurs and random dice or two. You recognize a few of Dipper's dice set from. Mabel stares at you both, bright-eyed. I have an idea. You tap your head. You tap your head with your other hand, charging your idea further. Forward gestures across the table as if to say, the floor is yours. Ask Mabel about dessert. Mabel, what do you have planned for dessert? At this classy establishment, there must be some sweet treats for us to grab. Oh yeah, I think Dipper was going to help me with those. Dipper? Mabel hopped down from her stool and snapped her finger at the two of you. No candor dueling while I'm gone, okay? She leaves you both red-faced, stammering as she skips out to the door. Ford turns to you, smiling nervously. Alice, I know Mabel tried her best, but I'm not accustomed with the dating game, as Stan calls it. For the first time in a while, I don't know what to do. Alice, I know Mabel. Wait, do you? You stopped thinking for a moment. Dipper told you something earlier today. An idea, in case Mabel's certified first state of dreams went awry. You suppose this is the perfect time to abstant Plan B. Right, but we gotta act fast. Watch my movements. You pick up your plate and struggle not to laugh as Ford mimicked you perfectly. You shove the contents of your dinner into Waddle's mouth. The pig chewed, swallowed, and nuzzled your leg. Really? According to Dipper, Waddles will eat anything you give. You give him yours too. That way it looks like we ate. Quick! I'm back! Hey, you guys were just kidding around. What did you two think of my dinner? Waddles burped. Perfect. Absolutely delicious, Mabel. You're quite the chef, you know. Mabel beamed happy at both of you. Also, Mabel, can we take dessert to go? I wanted to take Ford somewhere on this date. Ford flushes scarlet at that. Mabel looks between you two and nods, wiggling her eyebrows at you. You sly dog. Of course! With a popsicle each, you lead forward away from the shack, away from the town, and up a hill. Where are we going? Oh, this is it, but... You pointed upward with your popsicle and... A meteor shower? The timing almost seems too perfect. I didn't want to miss out on seeing it with you. You both blush and sit down shoulder to shoulder. I'm surprised you went looking into meteor showers, Alice. Well, after our last time searching for anomalies, I got curious about celestial stuff. Also, Dipper told me about it, Plan B. Ford laughs. The kid's bright. The twins are both very smart and very close for siblings. Ford pauses. It's obvious there's something on his mind. What's the matter, Ford? Ford turns to you. He opens his mouth, as if he was going to say something, but closed it. It's just, I'm surprised how close they're acting. Practically inseparable. Stan and I were never like that. You seem like you are now. What happened? Well, we were very close. Best friends. But once we got to high school, things changed. You realize that Ford's hand is resting a few inches from yours. Casually and so casually that you're that your almost casual Friday self. You scoot your hand closer to his, still too nervous to take it for yourself. What changed? We both changed. Ford sighed, leaning back on his palms. He noticed your hand near his, thinking for a moment, deciding to keep talking instead. Sam and I had planned since we were children that we were going to get on a boat and sail far away from New Jersey home, far away from our family, friends, everyone, just him and me in the Santa War, the boat we fixed up. I had a chance at an admission for the college of my dreams. My other dream, anyway. I always thought the Santa War was a lost childhood fantasy, and that one day we'd grow up and go on our separate ways, and we wouldn't be as close as we used to. My exception into said college heightened on the research of my science fair project, the perpetual motion machine that I designed. The machine was flawless. The calculations were triple checked. I had reassured my full presentation in preparation. I could practically see myself at the university, studying with endless resources at my disposal, and getting several doctorates. Ford sighed again, rubbing his templates. But it was the day of the science fair. The admission team from the college were there in front of me, ready to view my machine. I pull off the cloth, and it was broken. My entire future was ruined. Oh, Ford. A perpetual motion machine has one job: to not stop. The admission team left, crossing me off their considerations, rejecting my entire presentation, my calculations, my hard work, my chance of going to my dream school scrapped. It wasn't until I found a bag of toffee peanuts that were on the ground that I realized Stan had something to do with it. After that, we didn't talk for 10 years. I went to university, but it wasn't exactly my first choice. And it wasn't until I came to Gravity Falls that I saw Stan again, and I come off sharply, he cut himself off deep in reflection. He looked so heartbroken, so sad. You gently rest your hand on the top of his. He glares down at your touch, but doesn't take his hand away. Rather, he slowly twists his wrist and intertwines your fingers with his. You don't have to keep going if it hurts. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. It has been a good talk. It's been good to talk about it. Ford sucked in a deep breath. We fought. I heard him. It wasn't on purpose, but I still heard him. Then the accident happened, and I lost him again. I didn't see him for another 30 years after that. You're tempted to pry and ask what the accident was before Ford seemed to finish his story. He swallowed nervously, awaiting a response. I'm sure everything's better now, right? Yes, of course. Wait, no, I didn't know. I was selfish when I came back. I blamed him for everything in a way. It is his fault, but he did his best to keep us together. Ford exhaled. He looked tired. Wiser than you remember, the man you played dungeons, and more dungeons seemed to have disappeared. You, you're right, Alice? I am. Ford turns his face to you. He squeezes your hand. You, you are. I never looked at it like that. Never, I never looked at you like that. You're smarter than I expected. The man is hot up on this hill, sweltering. Even maybe that's just you. Who knows? Well, uh, I have my moments, I suppose. I didn't mean that kind of smart, Alice. I mean the difference for smart. You're and kind and caring, and you suddenly realize how close you two were. And I've never met anyone as wonderful as you. That the feeling's mutual for it. What to do? True love's high five. Go for a hug. Kisses cheek. You lean you lean forward a little. Ford stiffens. Are you sure that? Ford kept his cheek in the palm of your hand. Duck in the other Duck to the other side of his face, gently pressing your lips on his cheek. His cheeks both fluster pink, and you can feel the warmth under your fingertips. Wow. Other than the burnt chicken nuggets, Ford snorted, resting his forehead against yours. Far better. Unbelievably better. The two of you head back towards the shack, hand in hand in comfortable silence. Once you reach the door, Ford grinned sheepishly. I wanted to say thank you for tonight, for being there for me. Anytime, Ford. I had a great time. You stand at the door to his house like two teenagers on a first date. Well, you are, you suppose. Hopefully we can have more dates like this. Ford flustered red at the mere mention of a date, which is so adorable. You started to laugh. Yes, we shall most definitely have to engage in more of these dates with you and myself dating. You smile at him. He blushes, his blush further spreads to the tip of his ears. He exhales, tugging his collar. Well, if I get to see you smile like that again, then I'll be happy to have more dates. Turn it turns your it it's your turn to fluster pink, and you both laugh in front. As the front door swings open, standing in the middle of the doorway, Mabel, who looks relieved to see you both. Where did you go? I gave you dessert and you abandoned me, you sly kids sneaking off to go have fun by yourselves. Did you have fun? You and Ford glare at each other and grin. We certainly did. Eee! I'm so glad. Now come inside before you get bit by mosquitoes. Dipper yelled from inside. Mine spell out. Does that spell out dating? Both you and yourself shout, what? Simultaneously at that. He's making that up for comedic effect. They really just look like cat paws today. Dipper appeared at the front door with Mabel scratching at his arm. Yeah, I did. Want to see the cat paw, though? You turned to Ford, who was very excited to see the connect the dots of mosquito bites. We love to, Dipper. I bet it doesn't have 6-toe beans. Ah, toe beans! Come on, Dipper, I want to see now. Mabel grabbed you, Dipper grabbed Ford, and you're both tugged into the shack. Your laughs echo into the woods around the house. Oh no! Car crash? More like train wreck. Wait. Why is he sad? Seriously, did you even try and be nice to him? What? I was being nice. I thought we were having the time of our lives. Why is he sad? The dates continue to be quite in the quiet alcoves of the Gravity Falls Library, and on the roof of the shack past midnight. They're simple. They're simple compared to the product Mabel whipped out for the night of the meteor shower. But Ford seemed more comfortable this way, and really, so are you. You learn more about him, but he's still holding something back. In your conversation, it feels less like he's just spent the years away sailing. More like he's spent half his life in another dimension. For instance, during the afternoon at the library, he attempted to print nearly 3 decades worth of academic papers in physics, and you had to remind him about the existence of PDF downloads and USB drives. But whatever past he hides, you're not sure you'll ever find out. The magic stand work on your car has retained the most opportunes again, which means that your time in Gravity Falls is coming to a close. That day is the last date you'll have with Ford. You arrive at the Gravity Falls community pool just a minute after sunset. Pink, orange, and yellow streaks across the sky like splashes of maple juice. Despite being after hours for the community pool and for the front gate being open, thanks, Dipper, you fly inside, taking in the abandoned floaties and one several times special edition soggy towel on the floor. A few minutes pass before Ford arrives, signaled by his accidentally slipped on the several times towel and quietly cursed at his clumsiness. Don't worry, I nearly stood on it too. Someone must have left it behind, though maybe for good reason. He picked up the towel between forefinger and thumb, and something sticky drops off deep Chris's forehead. Ford shudders and drops it. Children and their boy bands. Make sure Mabel's not around to hear that. I'm fairly certain she'd disown you. At least Baba actually has some good songs back in their day. Ford turns to you and notices something. His curious expression softens as you stare at him, and he makes his way over to you, tilting his head down in your direction, cursing him being so darn tall and cute, even though. Ford? Yes? You have a California fridge magnet stuck to your forehead. Ford immediately blusters bright red, eyes wide in surprise. Really? Peel it off his head. You pull the magnet off his head, examining it for a moment, then lightly tap his nose with it. He somehow flustered a deep pink, grinning blushfully at you. Ford sits at the edge of the pool, dangling his feet in, not having worn a swimsuit. You had one under your clothes, but you're kind of nervous to get undressed. You struggle to start taking off your clothes with startling Ford into a deep embarrassment. You sit with Ford at the edge of the pool, swinging your legs back and forth in the pool. The two of you sit there in silence for a moment. Do you go swimming a lot? Me? No, I used to swim a lot as a child, since we live close to an ocean, but now, not really. Why not? Never have time, I suppose. I was always busy with my work, and I never realized we even had a community pool until Mabel told me about it. It goes quiet again. Ford's hand skims across the surface of the water, tracing tiny waves with his fingers. He looks to be in deep thought, like something's troubling him. What's the matter, Ford? He looks at you wide-eyed and blinks behind his thick glasses. Oh, nothing, just thinking. You stay silent and instead start swirling your fingers in the water too, occasionally curling your fingers around his and it's an accident, of course. Eventually, you both stop messing with the water and leave your fingers linked together, which gracefully turns into his hand taking yours, all of your fingers intertwined, knuckles brushed against the water. Ford swallows. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a tint of pink. It's probably not from the sunset. He seems nervous, more nervous than on your Mabel certified date of dreams, which is strange considering the context that one was pretty forced. Ford, do you trust me? The question came out in one breath, out of nowhere. He gripped onto your hand tightly. Of course I do. He rubbed the back of his neck with his free arm, a small reflex gesture, 6 fingers dripping beneath the high collar of his sweater. There's things I haven't told you yet. Things about myself. Things I'm not sure you'd like. Of course, there's the great uncle Ford side of things, where I'm Dipper with Dipper and Mabel, but I don't really know what's gonna happen with me while I was studying here 30 years ago. Tell me about it. Tell me, Ford. It's okay. You trust me, right? We can tell each other these sort of things. Ford looks down at the water, at his reflection. He frowns, closing his eyes, and thinks for a moment. You've proven yourself to be a good companion, to put it lightly. Of course, the whole dating thing. He blushes, Ford coughs as you start to giggle. Well, what I mean is, there's nothing about you that could do me significant harm. Just wait until I peel off my human skin and become a lizard person. Within the set of species residing on this earth, there exists a race of lizard people and they surely walk among us, Alice. The subject is no joking matter. You stare at him, an eyebrow raised. Both of you burst out laughing. The sound echoes around the empty pool. From the corner of your eye, you notice Ford scoot closer to you. Alice, you haven't heard of Gravity Falls until you crashed into the mystery shack of the magnet gun, correct? I read the shack being in Oregon, but that's about it. Gravity Falls wasn't even on my map. Why do you ask? That's to be expected. Most people don't know about Gravity Falls unless they see it for themselves or do elaborate research on it. Remember when you were hunting for the Mothman? How I warned you about other creatures that can be found in the woods and around town? You mean the leprechaun, the gremlin, and others you told me about, right? There's so many oddities, bizarre creatures, geomorphic anomalies, secret societies, and strange town people. Like I've said before, the unique contents of weirdness that drew me to Gravity Falls in the first place and made it a perfect place to conduct my research. I'm sorry if this is boring you. I thought I could share my thoughts with you and gain some self-reflection. No, I'm just curious. Please continue. Well, the biggest question during my studies was, why? Why is this town so strange? I tried to find answers and define my theories that would pull my research together and finally grant me success. But I hit a wall in my research. I had no ideas, no leads. With nothing, I had no one to help me until I found a being by the name of Bill Cipher. He came to my dreams claiming he was a godly muse, a friend, someone that could help you do a lot with a little help, and I believed him. Ford continued with the certain bitterness you've certainly never heard in his tone before. I put my unconscious trust in him. I asked for his wisdom, for his guidance. Put him on a godly pedestal and worshipped him, even going as far as to litter my house with his image. I think that certain other people enjoy being. Do you have like posters and stuff? You know, like Mabel and her boy bands. You have this post. To some degree, yeah. Did you smooch them before bed every night? This is dishonoring Ford. Stop. Ford shakes his head, curling his lips in disgust. Thankfully, I harbored no feelings of that natural towards Bill. I looked at him for knowledge, and knowledge only. But I did have a shrine or two. Wouldn't put it past you. Well, I had considered Bill, consulted Bill about my unveiling research, and he told me that my answer was lying in another dimension, and he could help me build a portal to it. Obviously, I built it without hesitation, without thought, and instead of being a doorway to a weirdness dimension, I had been led to believe it turned out to be the nightmare realm. Bill's realm. He had tricked me. All he had wanted was to cross into our dimension and model it all into his chaotic image. I shut down the portal before his plans could be realized, but I was too late. My mind was in shambles from Bill's influence. I should have ended it. I should have torn the portal down, but I had so much to making it. It worked. I hid the instructions for operating it. Instead, I tried to entrust a piece of it to Stanley, but after 10 years apart, I paused, sucking in a deep breath. We fought, and in the midst of it all, one of us pushed a button and pulled a switch. The portal reactivated that day, and I was pulled into it. I spent the next 30 years in a portal, years for searching an answer to the new question: how to defeat Bill once and for all. But I was pulled back into this dimension, my home, too early, and all of this frustration came crashing down. In this tiny town, in a grand multiverse, I truly believed I was meant for something more. Bill told me that I was meant to change the world. I never questioned it would be for the better or worse. How'd you get pulled? You were doing what you thought was the best. At times, of course, but I didn't realize the repercussions of my actions would be so catastrophic. But you did, right? Did what? Built the portal, left, came back. And otherwise you wouldn't be here. I did, yes, but I did not do it alone. I was pulled back through the portal by Stanley himself, and Dipper, and Mabel, of course. However, because the portal had been reactivated, Bill could enter our world at any time. I destroyed the portal device once and for all, but was left with an interdimensional rift in space-time left over from the portal's last operation. It had the potential to let Bill through our dimension. I contained it, but the rift shattered. Bill entered the physical realm and wreaked havoc on Gravity Falls in an event called Weird Mageddon. This Armageddon would have been better. What did you do? What happened during Weird Mageddon? To put it lightly, the end of the world. That's not putting it lightly. It was an apocalypse. Weirdness exploded from every corner. Anomalies even I couldn't explain. Even everywhere. It was all Bill's doing, but he breathed out in frustration with himself. It was still my fault as much as I wanted to go back on myself and say it wasn't. I still caused the whole thing. I brought Bill here. I helped him with his plans. I know. Don't let it define you, Ford. Don't let it define you, Ford. You learned a lesson. Sometimes people don't have the best intentions at heart, but sounds of it. This Bill character has no heart. He's a demon, so no. It's a mark on your conscience, and it hurts to remember, but you fixed your mistake, you stopped the world from ending, and you remember that your family are some of the best staying people I've certainly ever met, and you get to be related to them. They are rather great. Even after all that, they still love you, don't they? Mabel set up a romantic dinner. Dipper wrote you a DD and more D cam page. Stan, well, you know how much your twin brother cares for you. He built your entire portal back up and brought you back home. Or nodded, squeezing your hand. It was awful and bad, yeah. You messed up, but it doesn't define you. You're incredibly intelligent and fun to hang out with, and I'm sure sometimes I don't understand half the sciencey stuff that comes out of your mouth, but that's all the best parts of you. And that makes me like you all the time, all the same. Ford finally turns and looks at you. He winds an arm around your shoulder. You scoot closer and complete the hug, draping your arm around in the middle of his chest, and hug him. Thank you for listening to me ramble. It wasn't rambling. It was your life, and I'm happy to learn more about you whenever you want to tell me more. Or pause thinking. My favorite snacks are jelly beans. I hate toffee peanuts. Honestly, I kind of guessed the whole jelly bean thing. Ford laughed, and you laughed with him, nuzzling into his chest. You felt him swallow before he pressed his lips on the top of your head. Thank you. You're welcome, Ford. You smiled at a moment longer, then it falls at his some. I suppose I wanted to tell you because you're leaving soon. The acknowledgement that in the matter of days your time in Gravity Falls would be over soon feel final, but instead it only feels distant. You sit back, replenishing Ford's embrace, and he speaks again. Alice Miller, what are you doing after this? When you get your car back, what do you do? What will you do? I don't know yet. We'll see when I get there. It would be comfortable to think that Ford will still be here in Gravity Falls for summer to come, but you recall that Sam Ford didn't even live on land anymore. They'll be sailing again, exploring the seas, documenting oddities of the world. From what you've heard, it's intense stuff that keeps them on the move, and Ask Ford if he can stay in touch. Ford? Yeah. Never mind, it's nothing. Let's enjoy this. So you did. Sunlight starting to bleed between the pine trees, the sunset on your last night in Gravity Falls. Seriously, did you even... I'm trying to be as nice to him as I can. This is your last day in Gravity Falls. Weeks ago, you worried today would never come, but now that you're here, you don't know how you feel. Just yesterday, when Stan told you your car was good to go, you wanted to believe there was something left for him to fix. And yesterday evening, after your final dinner with the whole Pines family and Sue's back-breaking goodbye hug, you almost resigned yourself to let go. But now, in the clear daylight, you realize that these weird and wonderful people didn't have to disappear from your life for good. You'll always have the memories, and you'll still be able to keep in touch through letters, packages, and voice calls. They won't be able to get rid of you, even too late, suckers. Cherish friends for life. You made your way out of the shack. You're met by the Pines family and Waddles, all gathered beside a large trap covering what you guess is your car. They're talking among themselves until they spot you. There she is! Thought you were gonna miss the big reveal. Now, you guys. Ford and Stan each take an end of the tarp, pulling it off with a flourish as Mabel and Dipper throw hands of confetti in the air. Ta-da! The reveal is indeed your car. Besides a couple of nicks here and there, it's hard to believe this is the same one you crashed just weeks ago. Heck, it probably runs better than it did when you first got it. It looks amazing! You take it all in, running your hands along the hood and marveling at the spotless windows. Ford, can I call you the next time I need a tune-up? If this is what